Welcome back. We are moments away from kicking this thing off. A big ACC matchup with 3 points at stake. This is how Florida State will line up with that 4-3-3 under Brian Pinsky. And, of course, highlighting Taylor Huff. What a season she's having. Was at Tennessee and then decided to, of course, make that move down to Tallahassee. She's been one of the leaders after those leaders left last year. So someone to keep an eye on. Now we move to Wake Forest. Head coach Tony DeLuz, he has been very, very happy with the professionalism and just the input and the output by this one, Emily Colton.
Yeah, Emily Colton has been a massive part of this Wake Forest lineup. And Brian Pinsky, when we talked to him before the match, basically was like, yeah, I consider her the third forward on this team because you've got Emily Murphy, you've got Kaya Hanks, but Emily Colton will get forward and have a go on goal quite often.
Yes, she will. Last time we were doing a broadcast, she hit one that, wow, still has me giving chill bumps. I mean, that rocket of a shot that had us actually fall out of the chair. I mean, literally, we fell in the chair. That's how great that shot was. Hey, speaking of great shots, that's a great shot of a great player, too. Jordan Dudley. Watch her. I mean, what she did last year, insane. And she comes back to a Florida State team and you just kind of say, great, you got to deal with number 11 again?
She's an incredible player. It's just truly a joy to watch. I talked to her after the national championship game they won last year, and she's got such a good head on her shoulders. Really smart player. A little bit shy, keeps to herself, but they were working, Coach Pinsky was working on getting her out of her shell because a lot of soccer coaches, Pinsky included, will tell you that a player being able to express themselves is a very important part of this game.
Yeah, absolutely. As Emily Morris comes in with the intervention.
Emily Murphy taking a spill there early on. Might be a little slick out there, having just watered the field.
Wake Forest in their pink jerseys. It's October, so it's Breast Cancer Awareness Month. They are auctioning off their jerseys for a good cause.
It is. Although I will note this, interesting that Florida State, usually the home team is the one that picks the kit first, and then the opponent is allowed to choose whatever is left. I'm surprised that you're getting red against pink here because they do seem close.
They do. But I am very, very blessed and fortunate that I can see the numbers. That's all I care. I see the numbers now. Is Florida State trying to get their numbers down the field. Chavoshi going to have to come in and help out, as well as Emily Morris. Nikki Small gets the start, which that sounds odd because she's usually a starter, but she has come off the bench in some of these matches, which shows about the depth that Coach DeLuz has. Just joking with him yesterday, we have a player like Small coming in off the bench. That's pretty good to have. Pretty nice luxury, right?
For sure. Excellent player with international experience and a real boost for this team. Coach DeLuz has really rotated his squad a lot. So while she comes off the bench on occasion, in the starting lineup here as well.
Now the Deacs coming off a 3-0 win against Syracuse on the road. After those 7 days of Virginia, Stanford, then California. It's brutal 7 days. And of course, you start that North Carolina game, which was on the 12th, only allowing the Tar Heels 3 shots. Coach DeLuz says that was the most impressive match for him against Carolina. And it's just hard to stomach that you didn't get any points from that. But I think that's where he saw the turn, right, of this team. Now the question is, what has been echoing throughout the training grounds is we're not done yet. Of course, They want to make a deep run into the NCAA tournament, a tournament that they did not make last year. As Johnson with a clearance, maybe not intentionally. As Coach DeLue's 28th season. And he knew this team was special in the spring. I mean, driving by the training grounds every morning, I saw these players out there working hard in the spring, and he believed in it. You could tell just by chatting with him and looking the gleam in his eyes, that sparkle, that he loves his team. And he will back him up. If I say anything a slight, that he feels a slight on this team, he will let me know. And he does not speak that much. He's very kind of quiet, but he'll let you know. He's excited about this match, taking on Brian Pinsky. Oddly enough, I think he talked about this a little earlier, that this is the first time that they're going to meet, Pinsky being the head coach of Florida State.
Yeah, these two teams haven't played terribly often in recent years. Dangerous set piece here for Florida State. This is likely going to be a lateral delivery, not a shot.
Well, it's Huffin Iwa and just floating that.
Yeah, that was not intentional. She was looking for a teammate the whole time and just scuffed it, got underneath it, sent it over the top. It's officially a shot, but I do not think that's what she was intending to do.
She had a good backspin on it, I think, and it floated. Had good hang time for somebody to run on, but yeah, I think it a little overcooked there. That was a wasted opportunity, but here comes the Noles again, moving into the final third. Working the where's Gilchrist, and here's the play back from on the 18. And at least a blast, at least try of a blast there on the deck, but blocked away.
Exceptional defending by Zara Shavoshi, because that could have been a dangerous opportunity, and she closed off the shot.
Here's Simmons, double teamed. And Hanks coming all the way back to help out, and she got pulled back. Hanks was recruited highly even by Pinsky at Tennessee, and that was one player he circled when we spoke with him this morning. He said she is a true attacker, one of the best in the country. And so is Emily Murphy. As Florida State once again peppering into that final third, and Wake Forest kind of with their backs against the wall. Untraditional what they've been used to. But Coach DeLue's also said Florida State has not had a team to go at them, and he plans to go at them. Right now, they're kind of surviving the storm a little bit, and they're offside.
Yeah, this Wake Forest team really likes to keep the ball, so much so that they maintained pretty strong possessional dominance against Stanford, who at the time was the #1 team in the country. Beautiful move there by Nikki Small.
Dan Pinsky said Wake reminds him of Stanford.
That's incredible praise.
Yes. Brian Pinsky, joy to talk to him this morning before his run, his third season at Florida State. I mean, look, he had it made at Tennessee, and he said, I want to take on the challenge and go down to Tallahassee. So I respect that. And then the fact that he says winning the championship meant that you didn't fail. Didn't mess up. I thought, wow, you couldn't really enjoy it just once. It just meant that you had a relief that you were able to not screw it up. Yeah, well, he has not screwed it up at all. He's been phenomenal for the Seminoles.
That's the kind of standards that program has set now. See what Wake Forest can do from this set piece. Shavoshi can really deliver a ball from deep here.
Yes, she can. Murphy trying to jockey around for some space and some positioning.
Just didn't get the height on the delivery.
Colton tracking this down. Does she keep it in bounds? No, she does not, but it will be a throw-in for the Demon Deacons wearing the pink jerseys. DeLue's 311 wins. One of those wins in his career It was against Penske in an epic ACC final when Penske was coaching the Terrapins. And look at the corner kicks. That shows you kind of that dominance between both teams. They like to keep it down to that final third. Something's got to give tonight. They'll give that ball to the new keeper this season for Florida State, Addie Todd. Her father played soccer at Denver. Mother did too. They're both soccer families, so of course she became a soccer player. Actually, her mother swam at the University of Denver. So that's some good endurance in the blood for Addie Todd, but she's a keeper taking over some big shoes to fill. First time Florida State's had a new keeper for like 5 years. Now this is interesting to see when Coach DeLuz decides to give the green light to full press the back line of Florida State.
Yeah, and you've got to be careful with it because it looked like they were starting to trouble the Seminoles, and all of a sudden, ping, ping, 2 passes, and they're through the press and suddenly moving forward dangerously. So it is a razor-thin decision.
Speaking of razor-thin, small, razor-thin position there, hugging that touchline, was somehow, some way able to escape and then got hooked.
Well worked over there. Nikki Small's had a lot of volume so far through the first 10 minutes or so of this game. Coach Penske told us beforehand that they are very aware of the danger of Kaya Hanks, somebody that he recruited at Tennessee, but it looks like they are early on trying to smother Hanks, and so the Deeks have adjusted to attack the other flank with Nikki Small.
Our referees tonight is Christopher Gravis, and then there's Jude Carr, Jason Kent, and John Motto. Chavoshi with a nice ball played, but really nobody there except for Scythe running on. She can read very well the flight of ball. She's a very special player.
She is, and she's got great speed, really good anticipation, and for a player who is a sophomore but missed her first season, combines incredibly well with this squad of players, like she's been here for quite a while.
Yeah, sophomore academically, redshirt freshman as far as eligibility, but yeah, that was a tough pill to swallow last year when she was shining during preseason and then went down against Duke in the preseason matchup and had to, of course, redshirt.
A lot of early pressure for FSU in this game, but since the Deeks have managed to put themselves on the ball a lot more.
You know, it was funny, Kyle, was last season, beginning of last season, I go to one training session before that preseason matchup against Duke. And Tony smiled from ear to ear. This kid's Scythe, something else. So you got to check this kid out. She is good, dangerous. And then, of course, they play at Duke and come back, and it's just kind of like the elephant in the room. Like, what you're excited about is now going to be on the shelf all year. Johnson puts one in. Maybe the only target was Colton. And now this is the dangerous speed the Seminoles possess, which the test will be if Wake Forest can stifle that. And the crowd is upset that there should have been a foul called. Still have a player that's down and just hard fought. It's Emily Morris coming in. Such a warrior on the field from Fort Mill, South Carolina.
Yeah, Solai Washington just turned the afterburners on got right by one defender, and Emily Morris came in with a strong challenge. Both players went to the ground. Hope she's okay.
And Morris has also had to move around different positions too. So they worked her on the outside back position, moved her on the wing. And she's the heartbeat, kind of one of the heartbeats of this team, just have the energy and kind of that warrior mentality, as you can see here, just going full in. Ooh.
Yeah, just got tangled up together. That's a painful one. I'm a bit surprised there wasn't a foul called in either direction. I guess the referee just said one of those like, hey, you both had a little too much physicality in it, so just let it cancel out.
The only thing I would argue if I was to lose is Morris got there in front, got the ball, then came the contact with the outreach of the arm. But I don't like to see lots of cards anyway, so let them play.
Well, yeah, it wouldn't have been a yellow card challenge.
Well, I'm just saying, you could be picky if you're a referee.
Sure.
How many times have we seen that? I digress. Another long ball over the top. We're going to see a lot of that, because you know who they are targeting. Jordan Dudley flying. Not only that, but her size just is intimidating. When ushering this back to Addie Todd. Seminoles now moving to that overload on the left side. Defense have stepped up to the test, though, Kyle. Florida State has challenged them on the race and on their speed, and they've been able to get back and recuperate.
Yeah, the recovery speed is so important against a high-quality attack like Florida State. You see players up and down the field for FSU have really good speed.
Yeah.
You know, the defenders will step up, snatch a pass away, and just start a counter the other direction themselves.
Wake's kind of absorbed some of these attacks by Florida State, and they try to open it up like right here. As Hank's getting involved, tumbles. Coming to the coming to the aid is Boatman. Good read by the keeper.
And you can see through the first 15 minutes of this game, Florida State has a clear plan to attack this Wake team, and the Deeks are just making life difficult. Every ball is being challenged, and you can tell that Seminole players sort of expect defenders to be in one place, and they end up in another.
Right.
This has been a good, I guess the cliche would be a good chess match so far through the first 15 minutes.
Are you surprised by that?
Not at all.
Okay.
This is what we were hoping for in a matchup of two top 6 teams, and that's what we've gotten. Probably top 4 teams, really, if you look at the way the strength and the results.
One of the well-known commentators of some sort for college soccer kind of had a preview of this and said that Wake would have their issues against Florida State's speed. And he said that they're just too talented for Wake Forest to handle. Which you kind of wonder if maybe they made that as bulletin material, right?
Well, you can tell the Seminoles possess elite speed, but grit right there from Emily Murphy. That is just...
How many times we've said that?
Her hallmark.
Yeah. And
it wins a corner. Set pieces are going to be huge for the Deeks today against a juggernaut like the Seminoles.
Hansbrough coming in. Now, Murphy, you'll see, kind of moving this way. And that outside wing, hoping that they'll forget about her. And now she'll get it. Let's see what she does. Murphy clipping it. Had to tried to lift it a little bit higher. Chavoshi meets it. And now Wake Forest connecting these passes and looking like a formidable team. What a hit by Murphy, where even Todd had some issues reading it.
She knew she was going to shoot from the moment that ball hit her foot for a first touch. Look at this first touch. She moves right around the defender, gets on her right, and takes the shot. She never looked up. She knew exactly where she was relative to the goal and focused entirely on making good contact with the ball.
Got Hanks as the short option. Colton will take it.
It's the same exact play they ran before, but on the other side.
Morris back in, left foot, swinging that one in. Maybe intended for Murphy, as Murphy's now moved over to that right channel. And Hansbrough also not shy to get involved. Look at the skill. Small. She's on a tightrope over there. Still kept it in play. That goes again with what we are big fans of, Kyle, is that first touch and how crucial that is.
Yeah, we've talked about it a number of times this season, but it bears repeating every time that I believe.
No,
I'm sure coaches will differ of opinions on this, but I think the first touch is the most important skill in this sport.
Absolutely.
Number one.
Couldn't agree more.
If you have a first touch, you can make up for other deficiencies, and if you don't have one, it will ruin all the other good things you do.
That's the first thing that pops out if you are either getting ready to play a game, watching, looking for talent, the first touch. Let's just say if they don't have a good touch, it's even more highlighted, right?
Absolutely, and this is relentless pressure for the Deeks.
They have 4 corners.
A number of them in succession here.
Against Florida State so far. As we've just ticked under 26 minutes remaining in the first 45.
And I know a lot of people struggle with these short corners because they're not as, glitzy and glamorous as the one touch that you bang into the box and then head it in. But
they work.
They have worked so far today, at least for the Deeks.
Look at this. Colton trying to square up. Oh, Hansbrough just a little away from her touch. Chavoshi playing that safety valve. Talk about first touch, settling that down. Look at Murphy on this near side with her hands up. She's got acres of space. I don't think they see her. Now she's going to move in. And Hanks will have to do some ad-libbing herself. She's looking for some help. Look at that. Hanks says, all right, I'm going to do it myself.
Crowd loves it.
But the grace she has with her moves and what really sets her apart.
It's fluidity, right? It's not choppy, it's fluid.
And that's going to be a foul. Hansbrough goes down. Bang, bang play, but I don't think there was any malice behind it. But
no, not at all.
It's just a foul.
Jordan Dudley is frustrated because I think she knows, and rightly so, that Hansbrough was probably looking for that because she didn't have a lot of options. She was a little out of position if she lost the ball, but really a veteran move, and it certainly was a foul, and a clumsy one at that.
Dudley, a sophomore from Milton, Georgia. I mean, things changed really when she moved to that center forward position last year. And then everything just, well, it's not like they were struggling last year, but everything just seemed to go to another level. And, of course, you remember her stat line last year, which is insane. She was all ACC Freshman of the Year, All-American. 14 goals. This broke a school record, or was second to the school record with how many goals?
Glad to see Hansborough's okay.
Yeah.
And they're waving the medical staff away just so that she doesn't have to come out of the game.
Wake Forest is also a physical team, so they're used to getting some knocks. They're definitely battle tested. That's what Coach Penske said on our call. That
take a look at the incident here. And Ansborough clearly is looking for that, but it's very clumsy from Dudley.
Yeah, I mean, those fouls sometimes where they're not really like doing that intentionally, but you know you got there late and you say, all right,
absolutely.
Yeah, I'm guilty.
Well, I guess she has to come off. The referee is saying that she needs a head injury check. And so she'll have to have a temporary change.
The clock has stopped at 24 minutes and 3 seconds remaining in this first 45. And the Seminoles came out roaring, but Wake Forest has now responded. They lead in the shots category, and now they won another one with Chavoshi behind it on a set piece, waiting for the delivery. Overload on the right channel, on the right side of the half circle on the 18.
I think Chavoshi was trying to wait to see if Ansborough could come back on.
Hooked a little dip here. Can someone get involved, get underneath? Scythe is in there. Of course, Small comes out of nowhere and fights and gets the corner. She just pops out of randomly, and she's right there in the mix of things.
Well, it's anything but random, Ty. That is exactly what she's looking to do, is mask her position and then crop up where the ball is. Ansborough's back on, which is key because she's a huge presence in these set pieces.
5 corner kicks for Wake Forest. Florida State has yet to have one. Sitting 0-0, big 3 points at stake. Wake Forest still with a chip on their shoulder. Still feel disrespected, even with the number 4 by their name.
Yep.
And Murphy tried to swim through and will get called for the foul. She's not protesting.
Good body positioning by Cameron Simmons there. Again, same thing as we saw before. You've got body position. You know a defender is coming to challenge you. Why not look for the foul, relieve the pressure? And it has been a lot of pressure by Wake Forest. So that was a strong, important move there by Simmons. And Murphy's a veteran player too. She knew she'd been baited into that.
This is the first time since August or mid-August that Florida State is full strength.
And that's why, Ty, it's shocking to me that they're ranked 6th.
Yeah,
they've 7 wins, no losses, and 2 draws on the season, and they've played most of their games without like 5 of their best players because of the national team duty.
I mean, it's one of those that Coach Penske, he told us it's a good problem to have, right? But at the same time, you go thin, where they had, I believe he said 12 field players available in those crucial matches, which they end up tying with SMU and Georgia. But you kind of have figured things out when you have these players that have to go up and represent their country. 4 in which the United States, and then Dantas with Brazil and Venezuela with Jimenez.
Yeah, and you know, you just losing Dudley alone is huge, but to lose 6 players like that, and like he said, it's a good problem to have, right? You want these players to go and have opportunities like that, but it hamstrings the team, and to perform the way that they've performed despite that is really impressive.
Well, they had Huff go up and play the 9, which is why she was the player, the Gatorade player of the state. So she's used to playing the 9. She just had to move to midfield for her collegiate career. I mean, someone that came in, she scored 133 goals in high school.
Is that a lot?
That
seems like a lot.
Yeah, it seems like a lot. But, you know, Huff, which we highlighted at the beginning of this match, 8 goals for her, 5 assists.
And like you said, largely from a midfield position.
What a nice problem to have. Penske, you got to figure out who's playing number 9. How about a How about a kid that had 135 goals in high school? Well played into space. Murphy's going to have to chase it down. She does. Hanks is to her left. What a move by Murphy. What a score by Murphy. The Deacons have opened this up. They lead 1-0, and they are well on their way.
Well, the Giant Killers strike again. This Deacons team just has so much resilience, and we have seen skills like that from Emily Murphy all season long. She does all the little things right. This time, she put herself in the spotlight. What a move. Dazzles on the ball right around a defender. She had so much work to do once she got on that ball from Nikki Small. Just hit the afterburners and then slams on the brakes. Defender has no idea what to do. Put him in a blender, and then a finish from a tight angle. Gorgeous.
You know, Murph heard us talk about national team experience. So what about me representing the Republic of Ireland? And she took off. She wasn't going to beat the defender on the speed, so she had to ad-lib a little. And that worked to her benefit just because of how she reads the game. And just some of those subtle movements that work in her benefit. And they lead 1-0 against the defending champions. Just the third goal allowed in 4 ACC games. And that's tough for Addie Todd to stop.
Yeah, goalkeeper. It would have been difficult. You know, as a goalkeeper, you're cheating near post every time from a tight angle like that. So it takes a special finish to get by.
This Demon Deacon team believes. And they believe that they can challenge anybody. I think it was really written in a lot of people's scripts that Wake Forest would score first, but that's where we stand. Under 20 to go in the first half. Murphy has taken the first shot over the bow.
Now Florida State, you're going to see an angry Seminoles team. This team doesn't like going behind, but they are used to being in this position. Coach Penske told us last season, there were multiple games where they were either tied or behind at halftime, and they didn't lose a single game. So this team is used to being in this position. Deeks have to maintain their aggression.
Look at this, another corner kick. I don't know, the Deacons they've kind of moved again, leveled up, if you will, since number 19 moved in the outside back position, something that she's not very accustomed to playing. She's a forward, she's got a forward mentality, but she will not stop running. That's what Coach DeLue says. She just won't stop.
That's what you need from a modern fullback position. Right. That position has become so critical in the last 10 years, and it involves a lot of running. There's probably no position on the field who has more varied responsibilities.
She can hit it from there. Colton, oh, she just was about a hair shy of making it 2-0. I'm surprised that Florida State gave her that much space.
We are used to seeing this from Emily Colton. We mentioned it before the game began that she loves to have a go.
You could see the shadow of the ball on that post.
Not far off. And a shot like that will force Florida State to respect the hit from distance.
Absolutely.
And now you've opened things up in the middle.
That was another one of the keys that Coach Penske spoke with us this morning. That three-prong attack, which is Emily Murphy, Emily Colton, of course, Kaya Hanks. As Johnson's going to have to really put the afterburners on, close down that angle. Simmons will back it, pull it back, and recycle with Beckman.
Excellent defending yet again. Dangerous position, but you forced them back. And now the chance is gone.
Interesting on this foot race that Murphy is really liked this matchup. She has waited to put the burners on, and maybe not known for her electric or lightning speed, but she can still move. It's almost as if Wake is using the recipe for Florida State against them. Try to challenge our speed.
Yep, absolutely. And sometimes you don't need speed to chase down a ball, because you don't need to beat 11 players to it. You just need to beat one. And it doesn't take just speed to get there. You see Emily Murphy using her physicality, using the precision of her body positioning.
And space awareness.
Florida State not happy about the decision that this was a goal kick, but the referee seemed quite certain about his decision. Look at that combination play.
2 saves for the Wake Forest keeper out of Florida. Valentina Amaral. That was also one of the things that were up for debate. Who was going to be the keeper? And now that's solidified. Look at that move by Johnson, Christine Johnson to Morris. Morris cuts it back in space, trying to curl it. What has happened here? Wake Forest putting a statement on in the first 45. It's 2-0.
A dazzling goal. From the build-up to the finish, it doesn't get any better than that. Christine Johnson splitting 2 defenders, meandering through, delivering the through ball, and then the finish. Oh my, the finish by Emily Morris. Put a stamp on goal number 2.
And it wasn't just moments ago she was on the turf. Look at that split by Johnson. This is just great teamwork, and this is great cutback along with the curl. Oh, you can't stop that. The bend, the spin, and the Deacons well on their way for a win.
A lot of soccer left to play, Ty, but this first 30 minutes has been truly impressive from Wake Forest. We already knew this season that they were not afraid of teams with low numbers in front of them. Clearly, they are not afraid of a team that hasn't lost in 2 years either.
Emo with their first goal of the season. Saw that side net wide open, and she tucked it away. 2-0. Very seldom does Florida State give up 2 goals, especially in the first half.
This is a Florida State team that, you know, they score lots of goals. They have tons of talent in the attacking third, but they pride themselves on that back line. And usually it's defense by offense, but even when they are forced to defend, it's a togetherness that you only get from national championship caliber teams. And it has taken 2 truly impressive goals to breach that back line.
Now the Seminoles can get one back here. Try to work on maybe that outside, or that back stick. Didn't quite get there. They wanted to go more centrally. What a move by Johnson on the outside. We've just talking about the importance of an outside back position now, these days. And you have someone like Johnson that makes this huge comeback, splits or cutback, cuts in between 2 defenders, opens it up and gives it to Morris, and Morris just buries it.
And what's fascinating about that move, too, is we haven't seen a lot of that from Christine Johnson. She's played a lot of center back here for Wake Forest. Left back, probably her best position, but she's not a left back that's going to bomb forward, right? She's not like a winger that you've stuck at fullback like a Sierra Scythe. she's defensively sound. So for her to pull that out of the bag, it's fun to watch.
A lot of endurance, though. So with Murphy, both of those wing backs have a lot of endurance. I mean, look, she's not even huffing and puffing. What do you think's going through the mind of Florida State, though? Down 2-0. I know they've got a star-studded roster, but it's kind of when you have such a great team and you show them their own blood, right? They don't know what to do.
Yeah, well, like we said before, there's a lot left to play, and I'm sure Coach Penske will have them roused at halftime and ready for a comeback. And look at that, through their streaks, a 43 games scoring streak that has yet to be extended.
32 games unbeaten. They did a 72 Dolphins last year all the way to the championship and took that with no problem at all against Stanford. As Abby Colton's come in.
Florida State has not managed to really put together a long spell of pressure. They've had a couple moves forward, but they have yet to truly test Valentina Amaral in goal, and they haven't really gotten stuck into the game. They had, maybe the first 5 minutes of the match where they were clearly in the ascendancy, but since then, it's not, they haven't put this Wake team under real pressure. And we said that all during the game against Stanford for Wake Forest too, that they were able to stave off long spells of defending. And when Stanford did have the ball, they didn't do much with it.
Right.
And that's really been the case for Florida State today too. The couple of times that the Seminoles have gotten on the ball in the penalty area, they've been marshaled outside to tight angles and have had to force it back. Referee playing advantage here. Well done.
Colton on an island. Coming for help is Hanks. Hanks will get it to the left. Left foot, shot. And coming over to stop that pathway is Addie Todd.
That's really good goalkeeping by Addie Todd, Ty, because if she parries this,
right,
it's going to go right into the path of Colton. She had to catch that to keep it away from a charging Wake attacker, and did so. It's not easy to hold on to a shot like that with good pace and decent spin. As a goalkeeper, your first instinct is just get it away, right? If I can't make sure that I can catch this, you've got to parry it. If you're going to catch a ball, you have to be 100% sure you can catch it. Because if you mess it up, bad things can happen.
That's right. Outside of her boot, Hanks trying to reach Johnson, who was making her way into space, and there's a foul. Wake Forest now with 7 shots. They average almost 19 shots per game. But what is overlooked is the fact that they hold their opponents to under 6 shots per game. Right now holding Florida State. Now, of course, we have 9 minutes to go in the first 45, but just 2.
And the Seminoles are starting to get a little frustrated here. Committing a couple off-ball fouls. And the reaction, the body language looks like it's starting to, the game flow has started to bother them a bit.
Yeah, you get that sense that, I know that, the talk is 2-0 lead is the most dangerous lead, right? But as soon as that second goal, you kind of feel that Florida State said 1 goal, okay, that's fine. 2 goals, we don't see that at all. Swanson's also come in. Swanson has started on that outside wing position, swapped with Nikki Small a couple of times. Tonight she comes off the bench, but also is known to take some long rifling shots in this one. Woo, I tell you what, Kyle, yeah, you had that look. Johnson did a little gamble and almost got bit.
Yeah, Johnson did not realize that she had a player behind her. And remember, Ty, you can live and die by a first touch. And a first touch sees a very good goal-scoring opportunity go by the wayside right there. Because if Gianna Riley settles that, there is big trouble for Wake Forest.
Colton arrives. Good settle. Wake Forest has done a good job on these second balls. Colton slides it over to the right, and now Murphy goes to work again. Murphy with a blast. Here's a rebound and a shot with a little bit of a diving shot with the left foot for Swanson that just veered left of the frame.
Just like I was saying before, Ty, if the goalkeeper parries it, look out for the rebound, and Murphy knew exactly what she was doing. That was a shot that obviously she's looking for the back of the net, but she's just trying to put something on frame and make something happen because it's from a very tight angle. The chances of scoring from there are very low when you've got a goalkeeper like Todd who's got the goal covered, but on the rebound, things can happen, and the Deeks know it.
How many times has Florida State given the ball away right there? Wake Forest has turned Florida State to a shell of themselves right now. Here's a shot sliding down again. Another shot that is floated left again from the frame, but the green light is clearly on for anybody who wants to take a shot, whether it's outside of the 18 or just inside the 18.
The Deeks are winning every 50-50 ball. Every loose ball right now is being won by Wake Forest. And that is the hallmark of a team that smells blood in the water.
Look at those shots, 11-2. I mean, and the shots on goal, and then, of course, the corner kicks. I mean, credit to Wake Forest for not shying away. A Florida State team that as soon as they can walk onto a pitch, they intimidate their opponent.
There it is again, another 50-50 ball that the Deeks have won, and it forces an error. Anything that's not stuck to the foot of a Seminole player right now,
well, you know, Coach,
is being booted away by a pink jersey.
Coach Ledoux said, we want to go right at him. He feels that people, he felt like Clemson kind of backed away, right? Kyle just said, okay, let them have their space. We'll back up, get behind, get numbers behind the ball. But he said he didn't really see an opponent really kind of go at him. He's going at him.
Yeah, this Wake Forest team has really, I would say, stunned Florida State right now. They look a bit shell-shocked.
So does Coach Penske, but of course a very good coach. But you kind of have to wonder when you're in the locker room at halftime. The wonder is, what is his strategy coming out to the second half, right?
Well, they've got to. What's hard is there's a ton of players on Wake Forest that they have to respect right now, because they came into this game going, we're going to shut Kaya Hanks down and make everybody else beat us. And that's exactly what Wake Forest has done. Kaya Hanks has had almost nothing to do in this game. They have marked her completely out of the match, and everybody else has stepped up with the space that has provided. Sometimes a star player or a top player on a team doesn't even have to touch the ball to have an effect on a game.
That's true. That's another thing that's overlooked too, is movement off the ball, away from the ball. At least an attempt there, outside position there by Suarez. Coming back home to North Carolina, big prospect out of Charlotte. Played at Audrey Kell High School. Wow, getting behind that back line in the Huff, which usually will finish those off.
Yeah, Florida State, Ty, is not really a team that you think of would go route one, but twice now they've had long balls over the last 10 minutes that have proven dangerous and have caught Wake Forest defenders off guard. And both of them have gone wayward on a first touch. So Florida State maybe has found something to unlock this Wake Forest back line. We'll see if they continue to give it a go. There it is again.
Good speed by Jimenez. Jimenez, who came over from the small college William Carey, but also had some time off to represent Venezuela. Coming from the D3 ranks to Florida State. First corner of the night for Florida State. Flicked away, but that still stays in this final third for Florida State. Now Colton will have to go to work. Colton maybe obstructed. Is that the last defender, Kyle?
No, absolutely not. But this should be a yellow card, because that is clearly a tactical foul to stop a counterattack, and probably the right thing to do. Because if Colton gets on her horse free in the attacking half, yeah, that's... I don't think she's actually trying to concede a yellow card there, but she is trying to block Colton's pathway to the ball. Van Zanten did what she had to do there to prevent what, would have been a very dangerous counterattack. Now she has to just keep that in mind for the rest of the game.
Mimi's sister, who played at Notre Dame, you probably remember that last name. ACC sisters. Sophomore from Buffalo Grove. Well read by Van Zanten.
Deeks happy to take their time with this as we tick down towards 30 seconds. Last thing they want to do is give up a counterattack opportunity at the very end of the half.
Well, that's pretty much going to be the last bit of action of this first 45, but a shocking, stunning, but in the Wake Forest Demon Deacons' eyes, it is a telling and a very, very fun score. Very fun first 45, as you see their record 9-0-5 at home in the last two seasons. Of course, their last loss was in 2022 against Notre Dame. There's our goal scorers. Murphy got this thing started, and then Emily Morris with another one to make it 2-0. That is a dangerous score, but Wake Forest has come out the car. They are fighting and swinging.
They sure are. A couple of haymakers from the Deeks, and they have been really on top in that first half. A deserved lead for Wake Forest. A lot of game left to play, but the Deeks have the Seminoles on the ropes.
Well, we got more. We got a halftime break coming up. It's 2-0, Wake Forest leading. And we're moments away from the second act. That's the first act. 2-0 Wake Forest. Stunning Florida State right now after 2 big goals, 5 minutes within each other. Murphy and then Morris making it 2-0. Also other scores in the ACC. It's always a great night in the ACC. This one's the big one. There's some big ones coming up too, but right now you got number 2 Duke leading Virginia 1-0 at half. What do you see out there?
Yeah, it's Duke is such a complete team this season. There's nobody that pops off the stat sheet or whatever. That is a total package. We've got Farrell Walters has the goal tonight so far at halftime, a transfer from Santa Clara. So they've really pieced together a quality squad, and they are hanging on a lead right now against another ranked ACC opponent, which there are a lot of those.
There are. One of those, of course, number 3, the North Carolina Tar Heels. They lead at half 2-0 against Louisville. And here is how, I think that is right there. The first one, North Carolina at North Carolina, was when the tide kind of changed for Wake Forest. They lost 1-0. They felt like they deserved to win or at least get a result. And then you see how things the result from them.
Yeah, things have really turned around for the Deeks. You know, they've obviously down number 1, down number 2, and are up against the defending national champions here. But it just felt like throughout the early portion of the season, they were putting everything together, except they just couldn't put the ball in the back of the net. Yep. That was the case against North Carolina, and suddenly, if you just keep your head down and continue to work, those things will come. And that is exactly what this Wake Forest team has done, and they have been rewarded for that stick-to-itiveness.
Pressure bust pipes, but they also deliver diamonds, and right now the Wake Forest Demon Deacons are sparkling tonight. In his first 45. The RPI, of course, that was the thing that hurt Wake Forest last season, and it doesn't look like it's going to hurt them this season.
Yeah, I mean, a result here would boost that even further, but goodness, what a resume this Deeks team has put together. But there is still 45 minutes to go, and they have got to maintain focus because it looked great through the first half. But if there's anybody you cannot even switch off for a second against, it's this Florida State team. We saw twice in the first half, the Wake defenders got caught a little bit lackadaisical on a couple of occasions and could have been punished for it. We'll see how much the Seminoles team looks to play those long balls over the top and cause some more trouble.
But Pinsky's also been known to kind of change things up. I remember against Carolina, he decided at the second half, or start of the second half, to go in a 4-4-2 to get 2 strikers to pressure Carolina's back line, and it worked well. Question is, what does he have in store here tonight, here in the second half for Florida State? And wow, not even seconds into the second half, Florida State answers and takes one back. It is Simmons who makes the goal for Florida State. They're within 1.
And we just talked about it. The ball over the top. Deeks couldn't deal with it in the first half a few times towards the end, and right here it just pops up over the top, and the defenders are caught napping. 1 ball, 2 balls into the back of the net. That is just really, really quality from Florida State, and we talked about, hey, they need some desire here in the second half. How about seconds in, and they are back on the scoreboard.
Cameron Simmons, who has experience in the 2023 World Cup. She actually made her debut coming in for former Duke Blue Devil Kayla McKenna in that World Cup when the Reggae girls made that historic run. Also a transfer from Tennessee, which her sophomore year last year for the Volunteers, she was their leading scorer.
And how about for Florida State? They still need a goal to get back level in this game, but they have kept their lengthy scoring streak alive now. 44 games.
Now, it's one of the last things you tell your team when you leave the locker room going into the second half. I want an early goal if you're down 2-0.
Absolutely.
I don't know about that early, but you know, the early the better.
What's so impressive about that goal scoring streak, Ty, is I mean, if anybody can tell you it's this Wake Forest team, sometimes it's just not your night, right? Like sometimes you can pummel the net, the goalkeeper, the defense,
right?
And it just doesn't happen. And that's just this sport, right? That's just soccer. Sometimes it just doesn't work out. 90 minutes feels long, but it also can feel short. And it's incredibly impressive to be able to put a streak like that together, knowing that sometimes you just have an off night shooting. Well done by the referee there to try and play advantage, but pull it back when he realized it just wasn't there.
Within one now, Florida State, after shocked, surprised, bewildered, going into the locker room trailing 2-0. That championship caliber team comes back and within seconds snatches a goal back. Simmons, who actually, she was a gymnast, but got injured, and so she was bored. So she said, all right, I'll take up soccer since I can't do any gymnastics right now. And now look where she is.
There's just some people like that, right, who could just pick something up and be good at it. Athletics is it's athletics at some stage.
Yeah, picked that up at age 11.
I mean, you look at, like, you know, guy, I always think of Tony Romo, right? Like, he's an NFL quarterback, okay. You know, has a solid career in the National Football League, and oh, by the way, he's a scratch golfer. You know, just some people have that ability.
And a good broadcaster.
That too.
11 shots now to 5. That fifth one crucial for Florida State. Again, we talked about how dangerous a 2-0 lead is for the one that's leading, because it just gives you enough cushion to feel like you can relax a little bit, even though you've been told and coached not to.
Absolutely.
But you look at that and you say, it's 2-0. It's 2-0. And, you know,
and look how quickly a team like Florida State can turn it around.
One goal turns that confidence up, and we all know how confidence is scary.
Well, and now the nerves start to creep in, right? You go, oh, right.
This is Florida State.
This is Florida State. And the response here by Wake Forest will be critical. Throughout that first half, they pinned Florida State back. They did not allow long spells of pressure. We're 5 minutes into this second half, and Florida State has had all control.
Now, one of the keys, too, Penske said, was know when to press. So you kind of want to see if when he gives that signal to put that full press on the back line of Wake Forest, especially now since they are within one.
And the Deeks are starting to get a little overwhelmed. Been a couple of fouls, and look out.
That was Ram EY. And got a little upset with whatever was going on. A little skerfuffle. Now, if you remember too, Kyle, we talked about how, first we'll look at the foul, but
it's a good move by Emily Morris, but then she's beaten on the turn and has to drag the opponent back, and that is unnecessary. Kaya Hanks protecting her teammate. I just didn't think she appreciated how slowly Emily Morris got out of the way. It all seems a bit much.
Just like yeah. Sometimes they'll say that's disrespectful, kind of like the Iverson walkover.
And they're still barking at each other. Through the referee. That's asking for trouble.
And remember, Morris, she was on the turf. She was not feeling well. I was worried about her health, and she bounced right back up and scores goal number 2 in the first half. And she doesn't look shaken at all. She is fully confident. It's written all over her face. And this is going to be a set piece that is, again, going to be very, very dangerous.
I think Florida State has asked for
10.
a count off.
Now the clock is stopped.
Crowd is getting a little restless that this is taking so long.
And it's hooked in and still inside the 18. Bounced around. That was Suarez.
Good ball down the left to keep this attack alive. This is what Florida State was unable to do in the first half, which sustained pressure.
But you remember the early part of the first half, Florida State came in with this aggression, moving into that final third where we thought, oh, this is going to be a long night. But Wake Forest kind of weathered the storm, right, and then responded. Now the question is, can they respond from this bit of a storm by the Florida State Seminoles? Hanks, look at that space. Murphy.
Burst of speed.
Murphy trying to get into space too. Kaya thinking about it, cuts in. Here's a right foot shot that is blocked. She was thinking about possibly distributing to Murphy, but she thought she may have a pathway to the goal.
Yeah, she did the right thing.
Here's a pathway to the goal for the Seminoles. Flag stays down. Jockeying is Johnson. And this will go out of bounds, but the last touch by Wake Forest, it'll be a corner.
Yeah, Kaya Hanks did the right thing. The defenders were backing off and backing off and backing off, expecting her to make that pass. So she took it herself, and it was well blocked by the Seminole defense. And the pressure maintains right now.
Here comes that wave of attack by the Seminoles, and it's a little bit more angrier than in the beginning of the first 45. They've got one back. Let's see if they can get to level terms. Chavoshi heads it away.
For the Deeks right now, sometimes it can be tempting to try and get out on the counter, but you've got to be careful about getting into a true track meet. Sometimes when you regain possession, settling the ball and slowing the game down after a long spell of defending is just as important as getting out into a quick counterattack. Because if the counterattack doesn't work out, now you're racing back towards your own half again, and you can end up in a track meet. Taking the air out of the game is a little important.
Clever. Lifted. Let's see if they see who wins this track meet. There she goes. Hanks. Murphy trying to get into space. Hanks. Fortuitous bounce, and here's a shot that just is a little too high going towards the crow's nest. Trying to hit one of our teammates.
Emily Morris, her eyes got huge there, and I don't think she realized how much space she had in front of her. She could have taken another 5 yards and still had a lot of room to shoot. Just a little anxious to restore that 2-goal lead. Needed a bit more composure in that moment. Great hold-up play by Emily Murphy after that cross just went a little wayward, and she had lots of space to move towards the middle.
Season high shots allowed.
Yeah, and there's still 35 minutes to go in this game.
Well, we saw what the average of shots per game by Wake Forest. And some would say, okay, well, who'd they play? I mean, they did beat Stanford. This looks well with small slides. This one, a diagonal ball. Scythe comes up outside of her boot, finds Murphy. Murphy will invite the 1v1. Goes to the byline. It's last touched by Florida State. So they're going to call foul on Emily Murphy.
Looked like the defender came across and initiated contact there. That's a big call because it's the difference between a corner and relieving pressure. Great move here by Murphy to the byline. And yep, that's fair. The defender got to the ball first there. And Van Zanten, remember, is on a yellow card, so something to be careful for her, but that was a quality bit of defending. She got to the ball first and was clipped.
I think the movement to Murphy's shoulder that caught the referee's attention. It's going to be a tussle to the end. Look at this. Murphy bearing down, one touch, it's in! Sliding in, the dangerous three-prong attack of Murphy, Hanks, and Colton. Murphy has one now, Hanks has one, sliding all the way in and taking the ball with him.
Just vicious by Murphy and Hanks. Kaya Hanks, we haven't heard much from her tonight. Her effect on this game has been more off the ball than on it, but she puts her stamp, her mark on this game with her 6th goal of the season with just a strong off-ball run. I thought Murphy could have initiated a little more contact here and maybe won a penalty, but she said, I'm going to keep playing and play my teammate in, and what a run by Kaya Hanks to get by her defender and stay with it, because that's cleared if she doesn't get there for that tap in.
That ball by Murphy, it's a foot race, and it's just put it on them during the stride. You can hit it with your foot. Wow, what a sequence. And that's a huge goal, because up 2-0, you allow one back by Florida State. You have to find an answer, and they get one to get that two-goal cushion. I'm shocked by this scoreline. I don't think I would ever imagine that the score would be 3-1 with, and we got over 30 minutes to play in the second half.
Certainly, there were folks out there who would have imagined that the defending national champions would not be in danger of losing their first game in 2 years here, but I think that would be foolish, because we've already seen who Wake Forest has already beaten in this season, #1 and #2. And you see right there, most goals allowed.
Look at this press. This could, oh. Well, I don't know what the mad scientist has done, which is the nickname that a lot of coaches give Coach Tony DeLuz, but whatever he worked up in his lab, he is really rattled Florida State.
I believe the kids would say that the Seminoles are shook.
So that was good just by the look. They're shook.
And this is not a position that they've been in quite a while. We saw most goals allowed since September of 2022. And there's still time to play for more on either side.
That's well played ball. Just kind of off balance, but a good attempt by Taylor Huff.
Yeah, I think Huff probably would have been better served there. She's falling away from goal from 12 yards out. Heading it in that position is exceedingly difficult. Probably would have been better served and had the time to take a touch with her chest and bring it down.
Scythe goes down, and a battle here on this left channel.
Yeah, Solai Washington not happy with the call, but it's the right one. Scythe got herself in good position and had her heels clipped. This referee has had an excellent match so far in a relatively physical game and somewhat chippy game between these two teams. You see Wake Forest trying to use their physicality to beat Florida State to 50-50 balls, and the Seminoles getting frustrated. He could have a lot left to do in this game as the man in the middle with the whistle.
Both teams really going at each other. They've done that since the first whistle. I mean, it is opened up. Everybody's free to do what they want to do. And there's a huge 3 points that sits in the balance. And right now, of course, Wake Forest back with a 2-goal cushion. But with all those weapons that Florida State has, they can score 2 goals within 2 minutes of each other. Just took a matter of seconds in the start of the second half for them to get one. But a crucial 3rd goal for Wake Forest. Great delivery by Murphy. Sensational night for Emily Murphy. The UNC transfer found new life here at Wake Forest. She's been a leader since she came on, and she continues to lead this team. She's so clever.
Wins a throw in there. Probably wished she would have won a corner, but they'll take it. The Deeks in the attacking third tonight have been vicious. There's no pinging it around the top of the box, trying to find an opening, waiting for the opponent to make a mistake. Every ball played in the attacking third by the Deeks tonight has been incisive, or at least had the intent of breaking the opponent down. Sometimes a possession-oriented team can get lulled into meaningless possession, which can sometimes serve a purpose when you are trying to bypass the 90 minutes and not concede possession the other direction. But Wake Forest has said, we're going to open ourselves up to counterattacks or to attacking moves the other direction by trying to play through this Florida State team aggressively. And it's worked out.
Well played ball, Dudley.
And that's why, Ty, because Tony DeLuise trusts his defenders one-on-one.
A defender that is not accustomed to the position, but learned it really quickly. An attacking mind, but she'll do what's best for her team. And since she's moved to that outside back position, Wake has really been a different team. They've just kind of leveled up again. Hanks is just let free too, and just when you think she's kind of away from the ball, she will hit that first step and bolt it.
Well, now with 27 and change to go, and a 2-goal lead for Wake Forest. This is where you start to wonder about how much gas is left in the tank, right? Tony DeLuise has not used many subs in this game. It's been mostly the starters out there. And so they've had a long, couple of weeks with some tough opponents, some long road trips. They gave up 2 goals in 10 minutes against Cal. So wonder how Tony DeLuise will navigate these final few minutes.
Well, what he says was kind of like his ace in the hole is the experience, the depth that he has. And yes, you're right. He has not used a lot of players off the bench. And he's you're kind of wondering if he's using it as back pocket to say, okay, when it gets to this time, I'm going to add some fresh legs and really wear you down.
Well, the starters have done the job.
Right.
So no real reason to bring players off the bench and change things up. But at this point, 90 minutes is a long time. And you do not want to give Florida State room to operate because of tired legs. Speaking of subs, number of subs readying for the Seminoles.
Thanks. Just playing games now. As Colton Murphy has been given the green light to go anywhere she wants. She's on the left, now moving, pinching in, right foot shot, blocked. A lot of pace on it, clipped over, trying to find the back sticks. Sight is there. Here comes Small. And a left shot, oh, up her V! Small with a huge goal. Finding the top shelf, upper 90. And the Deacons and the Deacon fans can dream and dream. This is reality. It is 4-1.
There's nothing else to say about that goal other than effort. She's on the ground. She's almost laying on the ground and somehow from outside the penalty area manages to chip the goalkeeper into the top corner. She's falling over and manages to bury the ball into the back of the net. That is sensational. And this Wake Forest team has been sensational all evening.
When it's your night, it's your night. 4 goals for the Demon Deacons. Against the team, well, you saw what they've only allowed coming into this match, and it's not very many goals. And Wake Forest now has 4, and we still have 25 and a half to go. There's 3 goals all season coming into this match. First thought it was 2, but thank you to our producer for getting the right number. 3. Oh, they allowed, that's right, they allowed 1. After the 2 ties, they did allow 1 that probably wasn't usually their style. But 3 goals allowed coming into this match, and Wake Forest put up 4. And they allowed 1 against Syracuse.
And if you're Coach Penske, at some point, you should have to tip your cap. I mean, it's been 4 goals, great goals conceded. And we mentioned it's been incredibly impressive for this Florida State team to have that 44-game scoring streak, because sometimes it's just not your night in front of it. You could say that about the other end, too. Sometimes it's just not your night.
Yep.
And this Wake Forest team has deserved their 4-1 lead. And if you're Florida State, you look at the film back, watch the highlights of this game, and just say, wow, what can you do?
Yeah, there's some matches in Florida State, right? They probably don't see that many, but this is one of the very few that they kind of have to tip their hat. And still, again, like you said, lots of soccer to be played, but falling down and finding the top shelf is pretty impressive outside the 18. Sliding it over, now to the left, and an offside flag goes up. That is Brianna Hudson, the freshman from Rochester, New York. She was track and field in high school as well as flag football. Highly recruited. She's got 3 goals on the season.
Ty, this is the first time that Florida State has conceded 4 goals in a game since on the road at Notre Dame in 2022, and they lost 4-0. So it has been a while since the Seminoles have been battered at the back like this.
Big clearance by Addie Todd. It is a long time.
And that year, they made the College Cup. So they'll be all right.
Yeah, there's a lot of teams that they might have an off night. I'm not saying that Florida State had an off night tonight because Wake Forest really put their A game, but you know, this is Florida State's going to be just fine. And Wake Forest is going to continue this historic run. And it was that mishap that they had against Notre Dame on October 9th of 2022. Got shut out 4-0. Now you wonder if that fourth goal is the dagger. Of course,
Yeah.
Florida State is not going to feel that way.
Certainly not.
And if they get another one here,
But
kind of changes.
You just watch how this game has progressed and find it hard to see how the Seminoles conjure up 3 goals in the final 20 minutes and change, because they have been minimized in the final third.
Deeks moving their chips all the way back behind the ball. Must be a throw in. You kind of see some of these ebbs and flows of this match, Kyle. You get this huge like wave of attacks. Now Wake's going to kind of come back a little bit, absorb pressure. Here's the standings right now with Carolina at the top, but see how pivotal these 3 points are, because what 3 points does for Wake Forest shoots them to the top of the table. And ironically, of course, just six teams make the tournament, which I hope that format changes in the future. Another corner now for Florida State as they hunt to cut Wake Forest's lead in half. In swinger. And a push there. Spotted out by the referee. And that wipes away that trip. Now, last time Coach Hinsky was in Winston-Salem was when he was the coach of Tennessee. That was 2018, and that one was a thriller as well. That went into overtime, and it finished at a 1-1 draw. His Volunteers were 13th in the country at the time. Chavoshi going to play that into space for Sight to run on. And here comes the freshman Hudson. Still can't get it out of the 18. Hudson at 6'2", towering inside the box. Murphy with a theft. Dempsey Brown trying to connect. And now Florida State once again working and moving into that attacking third. Over to Hudson. Hudson, tough angle. She'll play it on the floor. Looking for someone to run on. She only really had one target, Kyle. But you saw that angle disappearing. And look at the fight by Emily Murphy.
Yeah, right now the Deeks with 17 and a half to go, finding it hard to get out of their own half. understandably so, as the Seminoles chasing a 3-goal deficit. They know they need one soon. And it's been a lot of pressure on this Wake Forest side. Just trying to play the ball out of their own half. But they are fighting.
Coach Pinsky said they have some attackers that are killers, and they have come to feast. 4 goals, and they're looking for more.
Another chance on goal there, forcing Addie Todd into a save. Another goal would certainly wrap things up, so the Seminoles know they have to put a lid on that net from here on out.
Small, dazzling, Small, just a little heavy on that touch, got out of reach. Hudson coming back to help out. Colton poking this up, hoping for Murphy to run on. Johnson, maybe the idea was to play Scythe, but cut out by Hudson. Now it's Murphy's time to cook again. What can she bring to the table? And she ran out of room.
Yeah, she just looks a little gassed right now, Ty. We talked about how a lot of these Deeks have played for most of the game. Usually, Emily Murphy gets a little bit of a rest up front, but she's gone the distance to this point. Just 2 subs for the Deeks to this point.
That's unheard of for a coach to lose.
And this is a team that he knows has depth, and so I would expect to see some fresh legs at some point, but so far sticking with the 11 that has gotten him to a 4-1 lead with 15 minutes to go. Little loose at the back here for Wake Forest.
Time now a problem for Florida State. Trailing by 3. A lot of firepower that can get inside that box. But they just haven't been able to connect well. Wake Forest has done well reading these deliveries inside the box. Great challenge. Taken away. Morris thought about it. Kind of pull back and allow some numbers up the pitch. The reliable Dempsey Brown as the holding mid. There to be that outlet. Scythe also thinking about a probing pass. Does a smart decision by playing it back to Dempsey Brown. Things opening up again for Wake Forest. Curling. A deflection that ricocheted off the pitch and then off the knee of Wynn goes out of bounds. It'll be a corner kick for the Demon Deacons. Swanson now replacing those outside wings. Changing of the guard with Swanson now coming in for Small. Small, please take a bow. After that shot, she's played a heck of a game. Everybody has. And now Swanson, who can hit it from distance and can put it top shelf as well. For a free kick.
Now the Seminoles, the clock is their enemy as well.
pretty even on fouls. Wake Forest now with 12 to Florida State's 10.
Look on Dempsey Brown's face after that foul was a little bit of a cringe face. Maybe lucky to not have been punished further there. Still leading.
Pinsky has brought in 5 from the bench. Of course, we just mentioned that Deleuze has only brought in 2.
Seminoles are going to have to push the goalkeeper here at some point, because Valentina Emerald will be very happy to hang on to it for as long as she wants.
Right. No hurry at all. Leading 4-1 against the defending national champions as Morris pinching in, overlapping run. Colton trying to poke it free. Here's the delivery. A missed swing. Murphy was arriving. Scythe comes up, tries to put it right back to the foot of Murphy, but no dice. And now there's going to be a foot race here on this left channel. And Riley will calm things down before she makes the switch. Hudson now moving over to that right outside channel. It'll be a free kick just outside of the 18, and clock continues to tick down.
I think
I pulled back. Thought it was a
may have been an offside flag there.
So never mind that. An offside call that actually negates another trip inside the final third for the Seminoles. You know, you go back to Wake Forest's result against Rutgers. People are again scratching their head and saying, you know, what is it? What is about the team? They can't score. They can have the same results. They have trouble against Rutgers. But you know, every time you talk to Coach Deleuze, and he trusted in his brand and his game and what he had to offer,
and the players,
and the players, of course, and that's a good coach, because the trust was there, and finally now reaping the benefits. And I did ask him, I said, Coach, if we went back last year, and it was October of 2023, and I said, we're going to go to the future, and before October 3rd, you're going to be sitting top 5 in the country, McGovern coming in. And he kind of just stopped and just kind of looked up, looked around, kind of to say, probably not, but I mean, doesn't mean that he didn't have any confidence in his team. He knew this team was special in the spring. But what's definitely palpable going to training sessions was they felt slighted from last season. They felt they needed to get their name back on the map.
Yeah, and I think that's what's the most impressive thing about this Wake Forest stretch and the position that they're in is, I mean, there's a number of additions, right? You've got a player like Sierra Scythe. You've got a transfer like Emily Colton. But this is largely the same team as last year.
Right.
And a team that, you know, whether deserved or not, missed the tournament. And for them to be in the position that they're in,
yeah, and they're
rattling off results.
A team like last year without one of the crucial parts in the center pitch of Malika Mina.
Sure.
Yeah.
And I just think it's so impressive what Tony DeLuz has done with these players to improve in the way that they have.
Well, Murphy's a good reason for that. And Murphy, right foot, swings that one across. Using that mitt by Todd. Able to move it away from danger, but nobody really kind of making that run in that far stick. Well, the first half was crazy, and the second half has been crazy too. Here's in seconds coming in out of the locker room. Florida State, which was that they needed an early goal, quick goal, and then Wake Forest responded. Brilliant play ball by Murphy, and sliding in was Hanks, and then a sniping shot by Nikki Small to make it 4-1, where you and I were both speechless. That's very hard to do.
Had to pick our jaws up off the floor because that was a truly stunning shot for her to be falling down and produce that kind of top drawer effort. Drag back there.
Alex Wood has come in. Usually we see her earlier in a match and just kind of coming in about 7 minutes and some change.
The referee told Emily Murphy to back up, and she did not. You're always going to get a little extra sauce from the referee on those yellow cards when they're for dissent or not listening to them, right? I love the ones where a referee tells a player, "Come here," and they just keep walking away, right?
They pretend like they can't hear.
Right.
Yeah.
Refs don't like that very
No,
much.
they don't. They don't. Wood, very fresh legs.
Ouch.
So Wynn got popped in the mouth there for a little bit. And
looks like the ball rebounded off her face and went all the way into the bushes. Off comes Emily Murphy and gets a big, big hug from the coaching staff because she has played an outstanding match. And finally, right to be brought off as she maybe was running out of gas and then yellow carded. You don't want to risk anything else, but what a sensational game she's had up front. Hold up play, assist, just a goal herself. I mean, the complete package as a striker. Leadership, all of the above.
We mentioned about the history between DeLuz and Pinsky in the ACC when Pinsky was coaching Maryland, who was a member of the ACC back then. But that last meeting was on October 8th, 2011 at College Park. That ended in a 0-0 draw. This is a well-played ball. And Hudson, she's got a very, very long target of a leg to maybe knock that one in. But that one ended in a tie 0-0. But the most infamous one was November 7th, 2010 for the ACC championship, where they went to PKs and Wake took their first and only ACC championship, and this could be a point to the spot.
Yeah, that's about as clear a penalty as you'll see, and a yellow card as well. Just a delicious move in the penalty area between two defenders. Gorgeous. Right here, receives the ball, and then right through the middle. Dempsey Brown's late, does not get contact on the ball, and no argument from Dempsey Brown. That's one of the easier calls the referee will have to make, and the yellow card along with it. Really, really great move by Solai Washington, and Florida State with a little bit of a lifeline with 5 minutes to go here.
Tries to possibly make it within two, but the heroics continue. Not only for the attackers. What a save.
Not a confident penalty. Amaral reads it the whole way, dives to her right. The ball is too central, and that is an exceptional save.
Corner. The Deacons can do no wrong. And the flag goes up. There's something, Kyle, we were talking about before the game about some of that strategy coach DeLuz was working on at training. What was some of the things that they were doing with the offside trap, right?
Yeah, and this has just been a total team effort. From the back line, they've gotten Florida State offside a number of times in this game. The goalkeeper coming up with a penalty save. The 4 goals will get the attention, but this has been a total team performance tonight, just like it was against Virginia and just like it was against Stanford. This Deacs team is cooking up something special this season.
Ticking down, getting close to that 90-minute mark. 3.5 remaining. Deacons definitely can start salivating with a 4-1 lead. Almost certain to add another big W to their resume. And break a streak that is almost, it looks like it's fiction, but what Florida State has knocked off in a row.
Yeah, you look at the Wake Forest resume now, Florida State going 38 games unbeaten. That's just an unfathomable stretch. But now you start to look at the Wake Forest resume. How about in the span of, 2 weeks?
Yep.
Number 2, number 1 defending national champions. All in a row.
And then a tie to a ranked opponent with Kyle, which they had the lead, then lost it with a goal at the end, which made it a draw, but still a ranked opponent, just to show you how strong the ACC is, which we all know. Colton going to move this one toward the flag, try to waste some more time. Swanson coming on. "18 shots for the Demon Deacons and holding the feisty Seminoles to just 8. A team riddled with national team players. Seminoles continuing to swing, though. This one is cleared out of bounds, but it'll be a throw-in.
Emily Morris, what a game she's had, too. Delicious goal in the first half, but beyond that, just physical defending, great combination play. She's been all over the field.
One minute remaining in the second half.
Sorry, that mistake was actually 32 unbeaten. Our apologies. As the clock now under a minute, you can feel it. A long-awaited a team that's been together for a while, senior leadership, a team that believed that even if they were kind of neglected by maybe the talking heads, that maybe they weren't as fast enough, maybe they weren't the athletic enough. Coach DeLuz, and the belief has woken this sleeping giant. It has stirred the nation, and it continues to rattle the nation. This Wake Forest team isn't going anywhere. They are here, and they are for real. The mad scientists has put together a gem here in 2024.
It's a truly impressive performance. Obviously, beating number 2, beating number 1, those were really great games and really impressive and historic results. This, in my mind, the best of the bunch. They dominated maybe a stretch, but controlled all 90 minutes against a Florida State team that is maybe the most talented team in the country. A 32-game unbeaten streak comes to an end in emphatic fashion. A complete performance up and down the pitch. Every player on the field for Wake Forest contributed massively. A truly, truly statement win. This Wake Forest team has something special this year.
They came, they saw, they conquered. They took the 3 points they needed, and they win another big, well, you could say it's an upset against the reigning national champion. Kudos to my crew, as always. Very good job. In for Kyle Vaughn, I'm Ty Collins. What a monstrous game. What a monstrous win for Tony DeLue.